Hey guys, how you going? Razor Kill Ben back with another episode in the City Skylines Aberdeen speed build. Thanks as always to everyone for watching, commenting and contributing, and I'm pretty excited to see the progress we're making, as hopefully you are too. We last left the Silver City after completing the Castlegate area atop Union Street, alongside some of the harbour and some of the shopping areas of Aberdeen. Today we're going to venture down the esplanade into Torry and hopefully do it some justice with its complex circular design. As always, please do feel free to like, comment and share around, as it'd be great to get the community involved, and most importantly, do not be afraid to subscribe. Cheers guys! So as I mentioned in the intro there, we're going to mainly be focusing on Torry today and up towards Wellington Road, that kind of way. The area that we're going to be expanding on is quite complex in its design. It's very circular and a lot of curved roads, so I wanted to make sure I captured that. And I must admit, the most exciting part about that is actually how good the city looks from above. Torry looks great from the sky, and you can see that when I look on some of the maps, and if you actually go and Google Maps it yourself, it looks really impressive. But when I actually managed to recreate this in the game, it came out far better than I was expecting, so I'm quite excited to be able to show some of the progress with that today. Now, one of the other things I try and do in this episode is get the transport links correct. Train is obviously a huge part of transport for Aberdeen, and the train track itself is actually rather interestingly designed. It goes in places that I didn't actually know it went. So it's quite interesting to see how it links up and how it links round. And it's you see the train track elevated on the brickwork awful lot, but you never kind of take into consideration where it's going. And there wasn't an awful lot I could do about the train station itself, seeing as that's submerged in Union Square, but there was an awful lot I could do about the iconic arches. Now, I managed to find this really great mod which allowed me to build the brick arches that we know, and obviously I wanted to get this right, so as you can probably see in the footage, it took me about 30 times to get it right. Now, it did actually have these archways in as well, which meant that I could actually put the roads underneath it as well, so I was really happy with how this looked and came out. Now, as I previously mentioned in one of the previous episodes, there is an awful lot that you can't do in the game. There's not accurate buildings and that kind of thing, so I am well aware that some of the buildings you're seeing are far larger than they actually are. But these are pretty much the closest you can get, and I think when you actually look at it zoomed out and you see the skyline of the city, it actually kind of represents it pretty well, and I think if they were a little bit smaller, it wouldn't stick out as much. And these buildings are quite tall in Aberdeen, so it's trying to get the healthy balance right. Now, I decided to put these trees alongside the esplanade, as that is literally how it looks, and I will be doing a lot more of scenery when it comes to the sort of latter stages of the game. I really want to get the roads mapped out and the buildings down first of all, and I'll look at beautifying it and getting the terrain and everything sorted after that. But for now, I'm pretty excited with how this came out, and it doesn't look too far off how the North Esplanade looks. this was actually quite tricky. St Nicholas Kirk, there isn't really any assets or mods out there that allowed me to really build this in the way I wanted. So the closest I could do was find some old castle ruins and kind of build that up around the area. I actually managed to find some graveyard assets as well that I could place down, as you can see. And when I put the front on, it actually didn't come out too bad. It came out far better than I was expecting, put it that way. And yeah, I'm actually kind of pleased with how that came out in the end, which you'll see as we do the zoom out at the end. So now we adventure into Torry, and as I said, looking at it on the map, it looks absolutely amazing. The way it's designed is like a huge circular system with a school as the centrepiece and all the roads running around the edge. Now, it actually took me a great deal of time to try and get this right, and I really wanted to make sure it looked as accurate from above as it did on the map. So a lot of the time I spent was just building the roads round. Now, this was where I really utilised some of the overlay maps, just to get the kind of basis down. And then as you can see, I was really flitting between that and Google Maps to try and get it right. It's really weird. This was the one where when I started off building it, I didn't expect it to look any good at all. And I was kind of disappointed with how it was looking as I was doing it. It was only as I started sort of developing it further, it ended up coming out as one of the most accurate ones out of everything, to be perfectly honest with you. Now again, as you can see, I'm using the Edinburgh / Scottish flats and housing mod here to use the sort of tallish flats that are quite common in Aberdeen, especially around the Torry area. And as you'll see, when we head back over to Torry and I start putting these in a little bit more, as they tower up on the curve, some of the imagery looks really good. So I decided one of the better techniques to use would be to build some of the big main roads first. If I could trace those down, then it made it easier to look on Google Maps at the ones that weren't visible on the overlay. So I decided to try and put these big main roads in first, such as Balnagask Road and some of the big main Walker Road and those kind of roads in. So once they were in, you could sort of use it as a guide as to where we were. Now, one of the things that I did when I was using and designing this in the first place was to use a height map for the terrain. So what it is essentially it's like a map that uses, it's hard to explain, but essentially what it is a map that has darker areas as it's higher and lighter areas on it as it's lower, and it's used to photograph Earth basically and terrain. And so what I did there was actually use that to import into the map editor, and it actually recognises those colour differences as height. So I was actually able to build height accurately. So as you can see, the flats and Menzies Road actually are slightly elevated down from Wellington Road, which meant as you come down, they're actually slightly up from where it is, which is how it is in real life. Which is pretty good, and it's hard to see because we're obviously looking from a top-down view, but more as you sort of get into the sort of game, and we develop the city a little bit more, you will see that there's actually an awful lot of that going on. Subtle changes in height is actually huge in Aberdeen, and I was really glad that I got the height map right from the start, to be honest, because this just wouldn't have been possible if I didn't. Again, I am going to add beautification to this later, such as plants, trees and greenery, but it just looked a little bit too bare for me, so just for now I just had to add some trees in to make it a little bit more realistic. I think it was difficult because when I was looking at it I couldn't visualise it because it was just so open, and obviously it's not really like that, so I just wanted to get it a little bit more right. Now where Wellington Road comes up, you can actually see me dragging alongside some sort of rubbishy roads at the top. That's just the connection to the outside map. Now I've just done that temporarily so that traffic can flow into the city as we're building it and people can start moving into the property. Again, this does change at a later date, or will change at a later date, as we develop the A956 upwards towards Cove. So the last thing to do in this episode was just to get the train route mapped out. Again, this isn't anything set in stone and it's probably likely to change if I'm being honest, but what I just wanted is the rough outline of where the train track was going. So I mapped it round the back, over the bridge, and that little area over to the left will be Duthie Park. But for now I just wanted to get the route down so I at least knew where we were sort of aiming for and could build around it a little bit. It's not perfect, and like I say, it definitely will be subject to change, and I linked it back up to the outside rail connection, which was conveniently in a lucky place. So yeah, that's the train track pretty much mapped out, and we'll play with that a little bit more in the next episode and get some trains running into Aberdeen. I actually managed to find some custom mods for trains, some UK based trains, sadly nothing for ScotRail, but I did manage to get a Virgin train as well, so it looks pretty accurate. Anyway guys, that marks the end of another episode, and we've made some significant contributions to the Torry area and laid the foundations for our train line. I even managed to get some rain involved for these final shots just to make it that extra bit realistic, and if you live here, you know what I mean. Let me know if you recognise any of the areas from any of the final shots, and if as always you have any suggestions on how to improve the project, please let me know in the comments and I'll take these forward and even credit you with the idea in the video. Please do like, share around the videos. I really do want to show off this amazing city and get people talking about Aberdeen. So if you do enjoy it, please share it on Facebook or Twitter. And other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.